Possessor.
Defragmented.
Each of us would share a scene with the other from the movie so that the other can synthesize it as a mentat would. Let's begin.
So one of the things that impacted me the most was when I got immersed in, so to say, scenes that serve to introduce something kind of big. And those scenes were the buildings a bit tilted, like moving, like alive, a complete frame of concrete structure, like, like a grill of steel. I felt invited.
So there is something about tilted space that could be perceived as an invitation to transcend the space itself, to go beyond space by tilting space. A tilting invitation, so to say. Alrighty.
Should I accept it?
Hopefully you will.
I will.
Alright. Well, first scene that really made a dent on me was the one in which, for the first time, we see the protagonist being transferred or being connected into the subject that she was possessing. And there is this representation of vanishing both mentally but also corporeally, so to say. There is a moment in which you see a person melting her existence into the existence of another person, melting her consciousness into the consciousness of the other. So to possess is not to just take violently, is to inhabit piece by piece. So that's what happened.
I see that you want to inhabit other being, but subtly.
Alrighty. Well, I send this back to you, Hex.
Let's try it. When more than a scene was something that was subliminal there in the movie, in the whole film. Blue and yellow all the time. In every single scene you could see blue covering everything, and some pieces of yellow at some point imbalanced, like yellow and blue. And those hues were sick. They were not inviting. It felt sick.
So maybe in chromatic imbalance, we not only define, but at the same time we face what it could be a whole state of mind, and a state of mind that inevitably we dissociate as we try to associate it. We try to make sense of this chromatic imbalance, but we realize that it's precisely this intention that is totally a failure.
Are you working as a mentor, or are you trying to project on me your need to blend with other beings subtly?
Probably I am.
That's spooky.
Creepy, yeah, it should be from a movie like this one.
Well, let's see how far you can go, and I'm waiting for
All right.
description.
Yeah. Okay, second scene that I think happens in the movie not only once but twice, it's the one about the calibration. So once a subject is possessed, the inhabiting consciousness has to progressively or periodically calibrate herself or himself. And for that, she or he needs to use a specific tool. There was something about this reference to this tool and to the idea of us being modular beings, and how we could understand our state of mind or state of beings by modulating ourselves, low or high. Yeah, but these lows and highs do not mean necessarily negative to positive or positive to negative, but just extremes. You could be totally happy or you could be totally miserable. Yeah, or you could be absolutely sad or not sad at all. So for a moment, I conceived of myself, being able to modulate myself and my state of mind and my state of being.
In the extreme is where you discover at some point who you really are. That is why it calls your attention. Maybe you are looking for something extreme, not in life, but inside you. Yeah, trying to reach your extremes.
It sounds wise, Hex. Yeah, I cannot.
Well, I was in a mental mode.
All right, yeah, you can really go into it when you mean it. All right, your turn.
All right. Well, she enters the house, but in his body. And then mayhem bursts there. And you think it was not okay, but then you realize she wanted it. And she was pushing for it, unconsciously, somehow. Everything disappeared there. Family, self, and then that shot, the camera getting away from the bloodshed inside. She inside him, possessing that body that is already dead. Her son dead. Blood mingling. It was poetic.
Right. So I think we're always craving for the deepest of contents. And we tend to associate blood with one of our most essential elements. That is to say, if our blood could come into contact, maybe we could really be in contact with each other. But the problem being, for that to happen, our blood, all of it, would have to touch. That is to say, we would have first to let our blood out of ourselves. That is to say, first we have to die. In order for us to come in contact with others, really, authentically, we have to die with the other.
That's harsh.
Yeah.
Well, how harsh you can go now?
I can go harsh. Probably you remember this scene. It's a scene that I interpreted as a double masking. Probably you remember as the will of the character being possessed is trying to fight back against the possessor. There is this moment in which it is not only the possessor that possesses the character, is the character being possessed repossessing himself by possessing the possessor. And you remember the scene from The Mask. Yeah? And it's like the person being possessed wears a mask, the mask of his possessor. And I wonder for a moment, how many times, in our lives do we have to wear the masks of our possessors? Not only to succumb to them, but to try to repossess ourselves through this new possession.
Human life is about, at some point, pleasing our possessors. And what is the best way to do it? By wearing their mask so they can see themselves on us, a projection of themselves on the being they possess. So when you go outside, I guess you want to see others wearing your mask so you can feel multiplicated, expanding yourself bigger beyond the body.
All right. That thought probably will multiply itself in my mind. If you really want to feel what it would be like to inhabit another body so that you could try just for a second to repossess yourself, watch Possessor.
If you want to feel transgression of gender, watch Possessor now.